thanks for joining me. This is Candace Gillespie from Candace'sCanvases.com, and I am here to show you this fun little box. I saw a picture of this on Pinterest, and so I just decided, you know what, based on the picture, I'm going to try to figure out the dimensions to that. So I am not the original creator. Here we go. The best stamp set to use for this particular project is this Label Love stamp set from Stampin Up, and it coordinates with this label punch because it has all these different sentiments that you can use. I've thought of using something like the Six-Sided Sampler, which is another good stamp set that comes with the punch, coordinating punch, but it doesn't have quite enough sentiments to really make it work. I mean, I'm sure you can make anything work. So it has Happy Birthday to You in 4 different colors. It has Cutest Baby Ever in 4 different colors. It has Just for You and To the Best Friend I've Ever Had in 4 different colors. And then it has 4 cards that are essentially blank. They just have a little bit of decoration on them here. And then for whatever event you have, you just pop on your sentiment wherever you might want your sentiment. So then it also has, on top of the 8 cards, it has 8 envelopes that fit all inside of this very cute box. And I made this at my craft night workshop that I have every Tuesday night at our local coffee shop called Queen Bean Cafe. Go check them out at queenbeancafe.com. They're super cute. They buy everything local. If you're ever in Southern California, come to Ukaipa and check it out. So anyway, we did this and we ended up tying it with a bow. So let's get going. Okay, so the first piece we'll make is the little tray, and you will start out with some cardstock of your choice in size 4.5 by 4.5, 4.5 by 3.5, and 1 3/4 by 4.5. And this will make your inserts. So we'll score your 4.5 by 4.5 at 1/2 and 4 on both sides. Then your 3 other pieces you'll score at 1 3/4, 2 1/4, and 2 3/4. And then we'll begin to fold them. So start by making your box. You'll fold and burnish your box sides, and then snip up to the first score line. And then whatever you do, you don't want to snip out of that rectangle in the center. So snip out of the little edge, the edges to the outside, and leave that rectangle in the center alone. And then this is where you will put glue on those little tabs that you've just created. And you'll put them all together and make yourself a little box. And this is the tray that we're making. Now for the inserts, just need to grab your piece, fold it in half in the middle, burnish it, and then fold each other side up. So kind of makes like a M shape or a W shape. And then you'll glue the center of that together. And do the exact same thing with the second piece. And glue the center of it. And then with the third piece, you'll do the exact same thing, folding in the center and then folding the 2 other pieces the opposite direction. And then you'll take glue and you'll glue this first piece, the bigger of the pieces, down first. Then you'll glue down the 2 other pieces, forming these 4 little pockets. Then you can use oops, wrong punch there. There you go, the Artisan label punch. Now I'm just finishing up stamping the last 4 colors of this one stamp here. I did 4 colors of 4 different stamps, so it was kind of like you can pick your option. We use Saffron, Night of Navy, I think, Melon Mambo, and Blushing Bride, Classic Stampin' ink. And we're taking our Artisan label punch and punching every single one of those out. And the great thing about punches is there's no fussy cutting at all. You get a perfect punch every single time. So just carry on and punch those out. And then what I did is I took one Stampin' Dimensional and I placed it on the back of each piece. And you can see me flipping over all the pieces here. Adding the dimensionals and then separating them into the sentiments little cubbies that they belong in. So once that's done, we'll set that aside and we'll start to make the box base. So the first part is the biggest part, which is 6 3/4 by 6 3/4. You'll score that at 1 1/2 on all 4 sides. Then you'll bring the lid on over, which measures 5 3/8 by 5 3/8, and you will score that at 3/4 on all 4 sides. Once you're done with that, you have a little piece of Designer Series paper that covers the top of the lid on the outside, and that measures 3 5/8 by 3 5/8, and we'll attach that just on the outside edges and the corners because we're going to take the big shot and use a circle framelit and cut out the center of that. So here's our big shot. We are going to choose I believe it was the 5th and 6th. Just take it and measure it up to your box piece there. See which one works the best. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, maybe 5th or 6th or the 6th or 7th. You'll have to measure it up, but place that on there. Here I'm using the smallest one for the box lid. Cutting a little piece of masking tape and running that through. Popping that off and saving it for a future project. And then I'm using some acetate that came from a package that some of my Stampin' Up stuff comes in. I just saved it and I'm running through the larger of those 2 circle framelits through to get my window sheet. Stampin' Up does have window sheets. They're thicker acetate, which are great for tags or windows. It just depends on your personality or the project type that you're working on, but this works fine for this. So use the smallest amount of adhesive around that circle. Here's the number for those window sheets if you're interested in those. But use a tool, the bone folder, to burnish those down and then continue making your box lid the same way you make your boxes by cutting out those little tabs and putting adhesive on those new tabs you've made and sticking those together. Haven't decided if I like to burnish the folds before I cut or cut and then burnish the score lines. So we'll figure it out. So here we're just gluing those sides together to make the lid, which this color combo, very vanilla, and this Saffron yellow, I really do love this combination. There it is, complete. Now on to the box base. We're burnishing the edges before we cut, which I think I might like that better. You cut up to that first score line, never touching that rectangle in the center. You only cut your little tabs out of the outer 2 pieces on opposite sides. Here it goes. Then turning it over, putting adhesive on the tabs that we've just made. And you can put it on one at a time and stick it, or all 4, just depends on what you're comfortable with. And then we stick those together to make our box base. It's really coming together. Okay, once your base is done and your lid fits on good, you're going to move on to making your cards.
Your card base is 3.5 by 7.
Layer
You'll score
that goes
that
on the
at
inside.
3.5 along the 7-inch side. Then you'll take a layering piece that measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/2, and you'll glue that in the center. Then you'll take a decorative designer series paper layer of 2 by 3 1/2 and glue that on the center. Then you'll take an inside mat that measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 and glue those to the insides of each card. Do that to all 8 cards, and you'll be done before you know it. I used Snail adhesive. I used all kinds of adhesive, so it doesn't matter what you prefer. You can see this when I made a little mistake. I accidentally glued the inside mat to the lid part, but you know, whichever. So the envelope punch board, the first measurement you look for on your envelope punch board is the card size you're wanting to make an envelope for. Then you move over and it tells you what size paper you need. So for this 3.5 by 3 1/2 card, we need a 6 by 6 piece of paper. So we put that in, and then the next measurement it tells us is we need to move it to the 3-inch mark, punch and score. Then from there you just use the little tab to measure it. You round your corners when you're all done. And then you adhere the 2 bottom pieces together, so the only flap that's left is at the top. Now if you're giving this as a gift, it's a good idea to put some adhesive up here that they can remove when they're ready. So we did that with all 8 envelopes, and it's time to load up our box. There it is, isn't it so cute? It's a perfect gift. Then I took about 23 inches of ribbon for this sized box, and I found the center and I put a little piece of sticky strip, maybe about 2 inches. And I put that on the center of the box on the underside, moved it up. Then I'm making this little tag, which also comes from the lovely Labels
Give it a good
stamp set. And I'm using my piercing mat and my piercing tool to punch a little hole in it, bringing over some linen thread. I think I used about 5 inches of linen thread. And I tied it, I put it through the hole and tied it in a little knot. And then with my box with a ribbon on it, I just thread it through and tied it in a bow. And there you go, you have the perfect gift. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe, give me a big thumbs up, and we'll see you next week for Cards Monday. Bye for now.